it was pretty calm. Nobody was angry. People were confused a bit, and that's where I come in. But there wasn't a vibe in the air, somebody did something wrong, or I'm preferring this person over that person. The crowd was traditional. I wouldn't say conservative. It wasn't a MAGA crowd. It was one guy with a MAGA hat. Okay? One. About 500. And the crowd was churchgoers, people who have an association with St. Edward's, but not a political crowd. I didn't pick that up at all because there was an extensive Q&A after my opening remarks. And it wasn't like, oh, how can he do this? Or how can this guy do that? Or how can Trump say this? Or how can Pope Leo? No, it wasn't like that at all. It was basically what the deuce is happening in a very calm way. There were more women than men at the event because it was in the morning. I would say confusion. There was some confusion in the room. And of course, everybody wanted to know what the likely outcome of the Iranian conflict will be. And of course, I don't know. Only Jesus knows, or God, or whatever you want to classify it as, because I don't know what's going to happen there. I can give you odds. I can tell you what's happening, and I certainly will this evening, but how's it all going to come out? This is just way, way too much stuff that we don't know in the air. So I wrote a column yesterday about this, and I quoted a man from Pennsylvania who wrote me a letter, and he was heated. He was mad that we're involved with this, and he didn't like it at all, and I quoted him. So that column is on BillO'Reilly.com. I don't want to reread it or be redundant. This evening, you want to read it, there it is. We do a Sunday column every week. In addition to every day, we do a message. And it's all free on BillO'Reilly.com. There's no fee for it. And the dilemma is that the media gets involved. And I said very clearly, I could mediate this. I could mediate in a half an hour. Okay, I'd have them both on the same team, both the Pope and the President, and they'd be buddies. It's not hard because they're not really opposed to one another. They're annoyed with one another. There's a big difference between being annoyed and being opposed. Now, President Trump's annoyed because he wants the Vatican to support actions against evil. And again, that's confronting evil. Ayatollah Khomeini on the cover of that book. And President Trump is going, look, I'm trying to save the lives of human beings here. And you, the Holy See, are in that business. So why aren't you on my side? The Pope's point of view, and he is now backing away from that a bit, all right, is we don't like any of this conflict. We don't want any of it. Kind of unrealistic. And that's coming from a Catholic. Because conflict has always been with human beings since Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel. You don't know who Cain and Abel are, you got to get busy. You got to go, But the conflict has always been there. And the peacemakers, remember, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall see God, I believe it is. Their mandate is to lessen the conflict. All right? So Pope Leo doesn't want the conflict. You don't want any of this. He doesn't want bellicosity. He doesn't want threats. He doesn't want, we're going to blow you up. He doesn't want any of that. At the same time, I think the Pope understands the danger from Iran. I think, because he's never spelled it out, and that's not what the Vatican does. Okay, they didn't spell out the danger of 9/11. They condemned the action, but they're not political scientists over there. They don't get involved with that at that level. And the Pope made a mistake injecting himself into this without answering obvious questions. Is the Vatican okay with Iran having a nuclear weapon? If you're going to get involved, you got to be able to answer that question. That's a key question, because that's what it's all about. All right, here's the latest that we have. This Iran controlling the Straits of Hormuz is just bull. I told you this last week. This is just a bunch of garbage, and it's spit out there by the irresponsible media. Iran can launch some drones. It can put mines in the water. That's not control of anything. Okay, so on Saturday, more than 30 ships passed through there, the Straits, because the U.S. Navy is now controlling what happens. Today it was much less. I'm not exactly sure why that number is going down, but the insurance companies have everything to do with this. So the ships that go through can't go through unless the insurance companies uphold the policies. That's a big part of this. And if the insurance companies think there's grave danger or whatever, then they stop. Then China is also a factor here, and we don't know anything about what China is doing. Now, President Trump has sent J.D. Vance, the vice president, and you remember on Friday that all the media was saying J.D. Vance isn't going and he failed. Oh, a bunch of bull. I mean, I'm sitting there watching lie after lie after lie from these people. We're talking CNN and MS and, the newspaper, the urban newspaper. Yeah, they don't care whether what they report is true. They don't care. It's like the Revolutionary Guard, which apparently now controls Iran. They don't care how many Iranians get killed. They'll kill them themselves. So it's the same thing. Anyway, our negotiating team is in Pakistan. Nobody knows whether Iran is going to show up. Wednesday, the treaty, the 2-week ceasefire, stops. Nobody knows what's going to happen. That's where we are. It's dangerous that the Revolutionary Guard is in control. You'd want to have some kind of moderation or civilian, and these people are just fanatics. Everybody dies, everybody dies. It's another challenge. Let me get the number for you. I got it here. 3 ships crossed today through the Strait of Hormuz. 24 ships crossed through on Saturday. I want to get the number down. Finally, price of gas is pretty much $1 more than it was before the Iranian action began. And that's another consideration, not for me, but for a lot of Americans. They don't want to pay any more money for gas. So again, the follow-up question is, are you okay with Iran having a nuke and then your gas bill goes down? Is that the trade that you want? Yeah, the answer is some Americans go, yeah, I don't care whether they have a nuke. We go like this. But then there's how do we know? And I get into that in the column. And that's the memo.